One of the questions that has been asked overwhelmingly on our page is like Casey Kasem, longtime listener, first time caller, 1-part question, 2 parts. Well, the question that's been asked is, would we take on the representation of Sean Combs, and how would you represent Sean Combs? So the answer to the first person, yeah, absolutely. People say, you would represent him? Well, a couple of reasons why. One, these are just allegations, and the information that is out against him is just that at this point in time. And so the representation of individuals is based on information, based on evidence. And we don't know it all yet, but everybody is entitled to representation. Everybody. And so just to listen to the allegations of the prosecution and make your determination is awful. And history is replete of examples of prosecutors and police officers making mistakes and causing wrongful incarcerations and exonerations. Man, there's a lot of Sean's. Give you 2 examples, one that we're paying attention to, that we've been paying attention to recently. Orenthal, the bus driving murderer. That case stands for the proposition of what happens when you try to frame a guilty person. So I always say in that case, who do you blame? The defense attorneys who did their jobs, or the prosecutors and cops who didn't? And then you look at the Menendez brothers, a representation of the Menendez brothers. What's going on there? Everybody knows they did it. Nobody's hiding the fact that they did it. But the mitigation on the representation of the Menendez brothers is about saving some portion of their lives. So it's not always about guilty to not guilty. So then comes the number 2. How would you actually represent Mr. Combs? Well, first is control. You got to have a client who's actually going to listen to his attorney. And if he listens to an attorney and he takes advice of the attorney he listens to, the representation becomes significantly easier. What do I mean by that? Well, when the federal government is coming looking for you, believe it or not, a lot of times they let you know what's coming. If you look at the Mike Jeffries case down in Florida, I assure you that his lawyers knew that these warrants were coming, and they were working together. And they were working together for the turn in. And as you saw, he was able to turn himself in. He was able to get a $10 million bond. He was able to get conditions on his bond. He wasn't flying all over the country. He wasn't giving the finger to the federal government. He wasn't calling and threatening witnesses. So I'm assuming that he was listening to his lawyers, and as a result, he got to a bond. So first thing is I'd make sure the client listened. Number 2 is the discovery. What is discovery? This ain't like Matlock. This isn't like Perry Mason. This isn't like Elle Woods. Oh my God, Legally Blonde, where we don't know the evidence. We know all of the evidence ahead of time. Good defense attorneys do their homework. So all of this stuff about let's rush and try to hurry up and get to trial, good lawyers, because they have control of their client, says, look, let's not be in a rush. Let's make sure we know every single scintilla of evidence that's out there against you, Mr. Combs, so we can properly try to defend him. They're going to know all the evidence, and there's a plethora of evidence against Mr. Combs. And so my suggestion to him would be, let's figure it all out. And then let's get to 3. As I've said over and over time again, the defense on this case is going to be about coercion. It's not going to be whether he's a good person. It's not going to be whether he's a good guy. It's going to be about the fact that he actually coerced people. And I was like, well, he did it. Well, you're just listening to the evidence that has been put off on social media and media. We don't know the full evidence now, because guess what? The government ain't giving it to you, because they ain't giving it to his lawyers yet. So we have to go through all the evidence and see if our investigators and if our information and if our evidence can show that there's a little more there than we actually think. And if we go through all the evidence, maybe he has a colorable defense. So yes, would I represent him because everybody deserves a defense, and would I do a good job? Fuck yeah. Take that, take that, take that, take that.